Does your hip pinch or catch during your yoga practice? Have you found yourself wondering if there's an underlying injury in your hip joint that's causing this annoying sensation? In today's video, I'm going to talk you through 2 hip injuries that can show up on the mat: hip impingement and labrum tears. So what's the difference between these 2 hip conditions, and how will this affect your practice on the mat? These 2 hip conditions have one key similarity, and that is that they are both directly related to the hip joint, the articulation of the socket of the pelvis and the head of the femur bone, as opposed to the pelvic joints or other external tissues like the surrounding tendons or muscles. For this reason, they are both affected by similar types of loads on and off the mat. So let's firstly look at hip impingement in yoga. In hip impingement, or femoro-acetabular impingement, FAI for short, extra bone grows along one or both of the bones that form the hip joint: the ball, the head of the femur, or the socket, the acetabulum of the pelvis, giving the bones an irregular shape. Because they don't fit together perfectly, the bones start to rub against each other during movement. And over time, this friction can damage the joint, causing pain and a catching or pinching sensation in certain poses or positions. There are 2 types of hip impingement that can affect yogis on the mat: cam and pincer. In cam impingement, a bump forms on the edge of the ball, the head of the femur, making it not perfectly smooth and round, and so it grinds against the cartilage inside the socket. In pincer impingement, extra bone extends out over the normal rim of the socket, the acetabulum, and overly compresses the connective tissue that lines the rim. That cartilaginous connective tissue is called the labrum. So labrum injuries often occur together with a pincer impingement. And there's also the scenario where a combination of both cam and pincer impingement exists in the same hip. So what causes impingement? The impingement can develop without any obvious cause, and there are often genetic factors at play. The extra bone growth often develops during childhood growth, but the symptoms usually only develop when damage starts to form in the cartilage or the labrum. And while some people will develop symptoms when they start practicing yoga or increase their physical activity levels in general, others will lead long, active lives and never have symptoms. The factors at play that increase the likelihood of developing symptoms are similar to those for OA, osteoarthritis in the hips. Reduced passive stability, so when the ligaments are loose and the joint isn't as stable, the bony surfaces tend to move more or translate on each other more, creating more friction and catching. Second, reduced dynamic stability. Similarly here, a weak core and under-engaged glutes will result in more load being absorbed by the joint structures, the labrum and the cartilage. So what about labrum injuries in yoga then? Labrum injury involves a tear of the cartilaginous ring of connective tissue that lines the rim of the hip socket. Labrum injuries can occur independent of impingement, but will usually still involve a pinching or catching sensation in the joint. Labrum tears occur when there's repeated or forceful impacting of the ball against the socket. Like can occur in yoga, gymnastics, and dance, for example, or impact loading activities like running, especially in sports involving a lot of agility or change of direction, like hockey, soccer, and netball. Postural habits like standing with your weight on one leg and your hip cocked out to one side, especially when carrying babies and toddlers. Just like with FAI impingement, the two factors at play that increase the risk of labrum injury are reduced passive and active stability. While we can't do a lot about a lack of passive stability, loose ligaments, we can definitely work to improve the active stability around the hip joint through better core and glute muscle engagement. In both FAI impingement and labrum tears, there are certain poses to watch out for and certain poses that can help to improve the active stability. An important skill to cultivate on the mat is the discernment to differentiate between sensations of bony compression and of soft tissue tension. Bony compression will feel firm and perhaps sharp in nature and indicates that you've reached the point in the pose where there is a bone-on-bone impaction. And when the bony surface of the ball impacts against the rim of the socket, there is no point in trying to push any deeper into the pose. You've reached your end range, and if you try to force this bone-on-bone compression repeatedly in your practice, because you don't know the difference between the two types of sensations, then labrum injuries can result. Soft tissue tension, on the other hand, feels soft and spongy. This is the sensation of muscle and fascia stretching. And while we also don't want to go too far and overstretch these tissues, we can go further into range gradually and improve our range of motion if this is the dominant sensation that you feel in a particular pose. So, one of the categories of poses that we really want to look at here is hip opening poses. These are poses that take the hip joint into its end ranges in either flexion, extension, internal and external rotation. These are considered hip opening poses. It's really important, especially when working with a hip impingement or labrum injury, to be able to discern the difference between sensations of bony compression and sensations of soft tissue tension in these poses in particular. Balance poses are also potential triggers, especially when there is a lack of active stability or glute and core engagement. This is because the gluteus medius, the side glutes, on the standing leg needs to be strong enough to be able to keep the pelvis level in poses like warrior 3, tree pose, and stork pose, for example. Otherwise, the hip will tilt down, forcing the leg bone, the femur, into adduction and jamming the ball into the rim of the socket. And this doesn't usually cause injury from a single incident, but over time, repeated jamming of these two bony surfaces can cause a labrum tear. I go into some of the key hip opening and balance poses to watch out for and how to modify them in my full blog article I've linked in the description below. In this article, I also outline the poses and variations that help to improve the active stability in the hip joint. Be sure to check it out, and if you haven't already downloaded my free Yoga for Happy Hips pose modification guidebook, which includes these poses and many more, I encourage you to do that also. I'm here to support your highest movement potential. Namaste.